Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Jordan Williams here on the Creative Podcast. We're back again with another episode. This is Ep.2. And I just want to reinstate that the Creative Podcast is a place where creatives get to learn more about how to become an effective creator. And I believe that I have some tips that I can share on how to be a creative. I've been a creative for pretty much all my life, but about 5 years consistently now. And I've learned a lot of things along the way. And again, I just want this to be a safe space where creatives can come and discuss, and we can discuss and even share information with each other that'll help us grow in the long run. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into what we're here to discuss today. So the question today is, how do I start being a creative? And you know what? That's a great question. Many of you may ask, like, how do I begin to be a creative? How do I, you may be on the verge of like, I really want to, and I know I have this real talent in this area, but you don't know, I guess, where to start. And you know what? And you may be feeling like it's time to take this stuff seriously. And I honestly was in that mode about 5 years ago, where I realized that I have a knack for being funny, and knack for just entertaining, period. And I always took it seriously, but I never thought I could take it so seriously. I didn't think it could be me. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think this will help you in the long run. So, let's define what a creative is. And honestly, I would love for you guys to comment below, what you think a creative is, or and even like you being a creative, like how would you describe being a creative? So according to the Webster's Dictionary, being a creative means to be marked by the ability or power to create, given to creating. So I love this because it says marked by the ability or power. Like, creativity is a superpower. Like, many people don't realize it, but being a creative is a superpower. And you can really be, oh my gosh, with creativity, you can really help a lot of people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got people who do creative advertising. I mean, those ads help different issues in this world because somebody's brain was being used. If you think of it like that, like, being a creative isn't a waste of space because we add value and spontaneity. We're spontaneous to the bland world. You feel me? Like, we bring so much life to this world. And I think this is a great thing that God himself has put in us, is that we can share the ability to create because he did. And, again, I don't know what everybody believes, but I'm just sharing my personal beliefs, because creativity is amazing. It's so many different ways, but in a sense, I want to talk about people like who create, like, a lot of things we can create now are online. And I want to steer towards that direction. So we're pretty much the new wave of artists. Like, we are going to be the new traditional art wave, even though it's not traditional, right? Because now it's no limit to what we can sculpt on different levels. We can use graffiti. We can do videos. We can do photos. I mean, even though it's not, these are all traditional things that we have used before, but we're finding new conventional ways to utilize them to their fullest potential to relay a message. And I think creativity is great for relaying a message. And I mean, social media has made it mad easy for us to share our art and to actually build our platforms of it. So we get to like establish our foundation by social media because, a lot of people, that are social media known started from literally on their phone and like just doing something that they're expressing themselves, and they built the platform off of that. So I want to tell a little bit more in depth about my story. So in the beginning, around high school, like my senior year, I realized that I like to do, at the time, Vine was really dope, and I really wanted to do it, and I didn't think I can do it because it was just like, well, I don't have enough people here. Well, one, I don't have the ideas. I don't, and I didn't. It was just something I didn't really think I could do because it was just so many dope people, and I mean, honestly, I didn't think I was that dope. And so, it was. Well, I went into college and I wanted to go for dancing because I was a creative in dancing. I love to dance. I love to be like, I've always been one appreciation for the arts. Like I could sing. I can sing. I've been in the choir for like ever since like 6th grade on up. I can draw a little bit. I mean, I can do poetry. Like I've always had a mad appreciation for the arts. And I'm glad because my mother actually supported me in that, and being in that support from not only my older brother, he can sing his butt off. You feel me? Like I'm super honored to just see my brother do the things he do with singing because he's just mad dope. Nova Luxurious, look him up. So back to the story. I went into college, University of Alabama. Graduated there, right? In the beginning, I couldn't be in the dance program because I had to try out, and I was pretty much undeclared for a year or two. And then the second year, fast forward a bit, I got a chance to be in the dance program. Or I got a chance to audition because you had to audition to be in the program, and so I did, and. Bro, I bombed mad hard. Like, I wasn't traditionally trained. I was street trained. You feel me? I was, doing the trendy dances, but not only like just crumping, like doing different things of like when the jerk was out, I was heavily into that. And I was just like all around. I could learn a routine. I was quick on my feet, different things like that. And so I went in there and I did horribly. I failed. And then, what's crazy? I ain't even going to say that. So, skipping over that. Then after that, I was like, all right. And I didn't get in. I knew I didn't get in. So I was like, all right, what do I want to do now? And I personally was like, all right, so what am I thinking? What do I like to do? And then I realized, like, I was doing Vine. This is when I was like, I committed. Of May of 2015. This was like springtime 2016 that when I did the audition. But May 2015, I decided to pick up my phone, and it was sort of like a call of God thing. And I was like, and I felt that I should start creating stuff. And were they great? Absolutely not. They were horrible. They were all right. I mean, I had some good ideas, but the execution was just And I literally began on my iPhone 4S. For those who don't really know, iPhone 4S were everything back then. Not really. Really, they were getting away from it, but that's how I started. Was my iPhone 4S, and oh my gosh, I love that thing though. Like, I love that thing, but it wasn't as good for what I wanted to do with it. It couldn't extend its limits because the iPhones was getting better cameras at the time, and they were getting upgrades and higher. And so I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, going back to the story, I was like, yo, what do I want to do? What do I like? And then I was like, wait a minute. It was like a light bulb eureka moment, right? And it was like, you're doing this. You love to do this. So why not? If you can't do it, why not? Let's study it. So I think literally that week I went to the telecommunications college here. And I was like, I really want to do it. I went to my advisor in the arts program. And I was like, I want to do telecommunications and film. just like that. It didn't take no long, drawing out anything. I want to do this. And so they were like, okay. Switched me over, got there. Man, first couple of years were dope. Like, but fast forward from all that, learned how to use Premiere in the time, met up some great people. In between the times I was still doing Vine, but then Vine shut down, so I started doing Instagram, and I was doing mad dope skits, y'all. Like, I began to learn how to find my own, and in between time, I went up to LA and I met up with Chad Smith, King Vader, Kenny Knox, Urban Comedy, just to name a few people. And we chilled and we created videos and stuff. It was pretty dope. And got to be in a couple ads. Met up with Cam Benson in the meantime. He was going to my school too. It was pretty dope. But graduated in December of 2018. Came down, and so after that, then 2019, it was like a huge shift for me, momentumly. Like, it was a huge momentum shift, like crazy shift. In January, I began my business, JWFilms.info, on my hat. So if you ever need video services in the Tuscaloosa, Alabama area, hit me up. And I'll leave my website in the description. Or if not, then we'll work it out. And then I recommitted, building my business. I've been doing this actually now. I'm still currently doing it. I've been doing it all from January till now. And I have gained like a dope amount of clients. Like, I worked on a good bit of projects, did some commercials, did a spoken word recently. I'm pretty excited about that because I see where that's going to go. And it was mad lit. It's just been mad lit. And then I rededicated my arts as well to building back up my YouTube channel. So if you want to check out my personal YouTube channel, I'm going to put it up somewhere in the video, or click the link in the bio, in the description, and you'll find out, or at the end of the video here, and you can find me there. And I went to this conference called Massive Momentum. It was led by Doug Wood and his team, and man, that conference really shifted my life, because then at that moment, I really took being a creative seriously. Like, I was like, all right, I'm going to create my life. I'm going to create what I want to. And along that, in the summer, like, many things opened up. So now we're going to move forward from my personal story. Thank y'all for listening. I wasn't trying to draw it out. So you may ask, how do I know if I'm a creative? And a lot of people, feel free to disagree or to add. I would prefer you to add. No, I'm just playing. You could disagree. I don't mind the tension. I'm learning to develop as a creative. You have to be okay with the tension, because a lot of people need to grow, because in tension there is growth, and then you get to open and be understanding of different perspectives. So that's a daily thing I'm learning. But I feel like if you're creative, this is just my personal, being creative, you don't normally perceive things like other people, like, in which that can be very vague, because it's just like, okay, yeah, well, people see things differently. But it's like creatives can think, like, in a dilemma or in an issue, like, they can really see a different resolution out of something weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, for an example, like, people, you may be in a jam, or like, if you have to figure out how to, do an advertising thing. I don't know. This is a weird example. I'm actually just going to move on from that, because, but to touch on a little bit back on it, though, is creatives just really have a wide way of seeing things differently in the world, Like, we really tend to we can see the positive, we can see the negative. We can create beautiful art from just our perception And I think that's dope. Like films and paintings especially, like we can literally turn a bad situation and turn it into a thing of beauty. And that's why I think the perception can really be different with a lot of people. You're super sensitive. And honestly, that's good and bad. Because, you know, a lot of times we are very just naturally just sensitive. We're like, you know, like our feelings, we're so in our feelings. Because we create passionately and we're just passionate people. So, and it just, like I said, it's good because we can feel, and it's bad because sometimes we can feel a little bit too much, if that makes sense. And also, you're just inspired by the small things. Like legit, when I was still in school, I would work on the campus job, on the desk job, and I would think of literally the bombest ideas from just looking at something random, like a coffee cup. Or let me tell you, like, it was a thing that went viral on Vine. It was called Hit Them Folks. And it was legitimately, the words hit them folks. Like, it was like, oh, wait, I can hit them. And then, like, it was a dance craze at the time, right? In 2016. And that was April. And I remember that. So, yeah, you're just inspired by the small things. And that's what you begin to appreciate. Like, a lot of creatives I see, they go out into the woods and they just breathe the air. And they're like, oh, eureka, I had an idea. Or they're in a coffee shop. It's like, oh, man, I see this film. And, you know, I've had that a lot of times. And so I want to say, to branch off from that, but to stay on that. So as a creative, like starting off with your thinking, like your creative thinking, your creative eye, it really has to be developed over time. It really does take time. So I want to discuss a little bit about my struggles at first. So I remember I used to be bad with comparing myself to people and ideas, because I used to think my ideas weren't good enough. And as a creative, I would say that's no. Never go into that zone, because your ideas are valuable. You understand me? Your ideas are valuable. And so I want to say, like I really felt like I couldn't contribute to the table when I would have ideas. Like, I would have super cool ideas, but I would think they were dumb at the same time. And that was the one thing that I had to learn. 2016, 2017, 2018 is when I really started embracing my ideas, because I was by myself, not around people, and I just started to just do stuff, right? And I just started to just love what I saw. I saw things the way I was like, well, this is random, but I'm just going to do it at the spur of the moment. And what do you know? This has like 200 likes, because it was just something I was just talking to myself about. And it just really takes time seeing things, you know, and having, like, turning on that switch. You just got to continuously be in an environment to do that, or to continuously do this so it can work easier for you. And I want to say this point. Most creatives utilize their right side of the brain. I want to say it's right or left. So let me see. While I'm on my computer. Yes, creative side of the brain. It's the left side. Okay, I was going to tell y'all, not the right answer. Okay. Most creatives utilize the left side, so we're left brainers, all right? And that's great. Because I mean, being a creative, like, it really does take, like, I hate when people downplay people who, like, I don't want to be a scientist, I want to be an artist. Oh, that's just dumb. You're not going to, no, because being an artist takes just as much thought as being a scientist. I mean, it's different, because scientifically you have to really just be like on a more serious side. And also with art, it can be serious, but it's more fun, especially if you enjoy it. And that's the same, you know, vice versa with science, if you're into science, and that's cool. Honestly, being a creative means you're a genius. It's not about being my spiritual father, Willie Simpson, shout out to you. He told me one night, he was like, you know, being a genius doesn't mean being book smart. Being a genius is when you can create. And I was like, oh, that's mad lit. Because I understood. He was like, yeah, your brain, he was telling me your brain is like Einstein. You're always thinking, you're tech savvy, you're just always trying to create something and do something dope. And I was like, word, appreciate that. And so that's why I want to say, encourage me. You're creatives, you're a genius. Never be ashamed of that. So let's move on. So train your mind to see greatness in the little things. That goes back to being inspired by the little things. Like, never think the little things such as being in a home or being in an environment where it's tough to kind of create. Never think that that's any less than a city thriving with creativity. Well, if you think about it in a positive sense, and this goes back to looking at a positive way, of how perceiving the world. Like, if you think about it, being in a quieter environment actually allows you to think. And I think that's cool and that's dope because, I mean, we have to think. We have to think as creatives. Creatives are hard thinkers, man, especially when they care about it. Gosh. Also, I say the biggest way to branch out your creativity is by simply doing something that inspires you at that moment. So what do I mean is, like, going back to just being quick on your feet. Like, if something's hitting you, like, write it down or do it if you can. A lot of times when I do videos, sometimes, like, I did a video last week about my phone, and what it would say when it's charging. It would, like, yell at me or something. That was literally a spur of the moment, like, because my phone was low and I was like, oh snap, let me just do this. And so I did it, and it was just mad funny to me. And me doing that keeps me keeps me on my feet, man. It really helps me. And back to the hit them folks thing, like, just spur of the moments. And like doing a thing, booty sweat, like, that was a spur of the moment at work, and I wrote it down, and I was like, cologne, things you should never advertise in a sexy way. Like, that's a thing, and I want to do a part 3 to that. So people who follow me personally, that is coming soon. I hope so. So here are some big points I want to kind of, I'm gonna end this episode very soon. So I want to just share a quick few things with you. Being a creative takes time and devotion. And I'm gonna say that again. Being a creative takes time and devotion. So you need to make it up in your mind. Like, if this is what you want to do, being a creative in terms of video, in terms of art or whatever, wherever, photography, making movies, music, other stuff. Really consider that it takes devotion. It takes time. You don't get everything you want. Some people get lucky and they just get viral and people flock to them. But for 9 times out of 10, like, you're going to have to work, and that's fine. Like, you have to hustle for it. If this is what you want, do whatever it takes. And I'm not saying quit your day job or nothing like that. Especially if you have a family, like, listen, take care of yourself, but don't neglect your dreams. So, and if you're beginning to embrace the life as a creative, commit fully. Things don't work right if you don't commit fully. You feel me? Commit to doing your best art, even if you're tired. Like, a lot of days I do not feel like filming. I know that was a lot of that last week, but I chose to film. I chose to continuously keeping the momentum straight and keeping my creative juices flowing. So whenever I do have to create, like, later on, I can just already be in that mode. And that's why I just want you as a creative to understand that it's like you're constantly having to be on your toes. And also, an encouragement point, just begin. You don't, listen, starting, you don't have to have legitimately, I didn't have all of this when I started. Like, I swear, I didn't have all of this. I only had my iPhone 4S and my computer, but I wasn't utilizing my computer like that. And I think it's mad dope. Like, that now I've grown to this process. Now I'm doing a podcast. Like, I'm doing this. I'm beginning this. I don't know where this is going to take off. I don't know where this is going to go. But I know that this is going to be great because it's going to encourage y'all and inspire y'all. And I hope eventually, like, it'll branch out to where you guys create the conversations for yourselves amongst people. You know, as this channel grows, as the podcast and Spotify and all that just grows. You know, start regardless of the beginning. Here's a big another point. Do it scared. Like, do it scared regardless of what you think it may go wrong. Just do it anyway. A big point. Put it out there because not everything has to be perfect. And I want to touch on this just a little bit. I have videos online. Well, I'm not super proud of, because I'll be talking real reckless and be doing stuff weird. But I look back at it, I'm like, oh snap, I started from there and look where I am now. Like, I'm super, super appreciative of that. And I think over time, like, when you look back at stuff that wasn't perfect or wasn't good, you know, at the Vines, like, where I did go viral, at the Vines I didn't go viral, like, you appreciate the beginning and you just taking the chance on yourself because you chose to start and you chose to do it scared. And you just put it out there regardless if it was perfect or not. And so I just want to end this episode here. Hopefully this inspired and motivated some of you. If you have any questions, you can email us at thecreativepodcast.info@gmail.com. Social media is coming soon, so please be patient with us. I'm getting all that set up as we speak. Y'all be inspired, stay creative, and live good. Y'all have a good one, my G's. Be safe.